Hello, my name is Matt Bird, and welcome to the PublishU podcast, where we explore the real life stories of authors from around the world. Today, we are talking to Emete Ogbomo from London, UK, who has written a book called Inspired for Purpose. Emete, welcome.
Good morning, Matt. It's good to see you. It's sunny where I am. I hope it's sunny where you are. It's
Oh,
certainly
yes, it
sunny on
is.
your face.
It is beautiful. Everybody from around the world moved to London. It's
Yeah,
amazing when the sun shines, and it is today.
absolutely. Yeah.
So, Emete, we're here to talk about you. We're here to talk about your book. Let's come back
Wow.
to your book. I want to help our listeners just learn a little bit about you because being
Sure.
an author isn't your full-time job, is it? You have another very important job. Tell us about it.
Thanks for that, Matt. I appreciate that. Yes, the book is certainly something different in terms of being my first time authoring. So my day job, I am a lawyer specializing in employment law. I'm passionate about employment law. Why, you may ask? Because it deals with the employment relationship between the employer and the employee and all the various manifold disputes that can happen. And I have a prized position as someone who's passionate about justice of being able to ensure the employee employee relationship runs smoothly in terms of contracts, in terms of
Wow.
entitlement, in terms of pay, ensuring things run smoothly in the workplace. And where they don't run smoothly, my role is to ensure that they do and put things in place. And where things have been done wrongly, I advise my client on either side to put things right. So
Mm,
every day is different. And when I finish
wow.
from this interview, I am going to be getting on the journey of that day job. Yes.
Wow, amazing. Really interesting. So, in terms of percentages, do you work more for employers or employees? What's the balance?
Okay. Um, in the last few years, it has been for the employer.
Yeah.
However, I still do work for employees,
Mm.
and my background is working for both employers and employees, and in other areas of law, including litigation.
Wow,
Yes,
that's
yes.
fascinating. Right, I'm
Thank
making
you.
a note to self. If ever I need an employment lawyer, you are on my list. So,
Sure.
Mete, when did you first think I'd like to write a book?
Thanks for that great question, Matt. Yes, indeed. I would say, in all honesty, it was 2 years ago.
Mm.
Prior to that, my book and the contents had all been. It's something I did on a daily basis. But in terms of writing the book, 2 years ago, wandering around in Sainsbury's as you do, getting your organic fruit and veg, I bumped into a lady who I do not know. She was with her child. We got chatting. And in the course of that conversation, she said to me, "Are you an author?" So, I said, "No." She goes, "My goodness, I get the impression that you're going to write a book and more than one book." And that really resonated with me. So I came home, I dusted off that journal. I said, "You know what? All these poems that I've had and rhymes I've had over the years, I feel the nudge to put them all together in a book." And that's how it happened.
Wow. And did you get the contact details for this lady you met in the supermarket?
Yes, I did. We stayed in contact for a few weeks. She's still on my contact list, and she's somebody that I've invited to the book launch. So
Woo!
yes, we did strike up a friendship. So that was, yeah, really, really
That's
interesting.
amazing. Do you know that
Yeah,
I've asked so many people what first gave you the idea of writing a book,
yeah.
and nobody has ever said, I met a stranger in a supermarket who said, you strike me as an author. That's
There
amazing.
you go. A first for everything, and on this occasion, that was my really good experience that nudged me along. Yeah.
Mm. And then you did the Publish You Writing My Book course. How did you hear about the course, and how did the book course help you?
Okay, you wouldn't believe it. After that nudge to write the book, I called a good friend and a lady that I know called Helena. And I said, "Oh, I just want to share with you that I feel to write a book and I'm thinking of doing a course." She said, "You wouldn't believe it. I've signed up for a Publish You writing course and it's write your book in 100 days." I said, "Never." She said, "Yes, it's been on her heart for a while to write her book." And she's joined the course, and she recommended the course to me, and she recommended Matt Bird to me as well. She said she highly recommends him. I immediately after the phone call, I checked it out on the website and I signed up. I think it was the same day.
Wow. It's so,
Absolutely.
gosh,
Absolutely.
I love this story. It's amazing how it's come about. It's like it was all meant to be, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. The timing of it. In fact, she said that morning she was speaking to her husband about the course she's going to do and writing the book. And both she and I were all part of the same cohort.
Mm.
I would say a beautiful community of the PublishU and writing the book. The course was phenomenal. In all honesty, Matt, yes, I spoke to that lady in the supermarket and I got that nudge. However, had I not done that course, I wouldn't have had the structure, the discipline, the regularity, community of like minded individuals, and of course, your push along coach technique. It wouldn't have happened. I would have had them in this beautiful leather handwritten book that I had, and they'd still be there. So it gave me the structure and the discipline within 100 days. When I tell people now, they really do marvel. And I've certainly passed it on to a number of friends who are
Oh,
interested in writing a book.
oh. Thank you. That's so kind. And I love the way you describe my coaching technique as a push along coaching technique because I have a certain way of encouraging people, nudging people, and
Yes,
sometimes I even shove people a little bit,
yes,
metaphorically speaking.
yes. That's all good because I like the fact that you said, you're not our friends, you're our coach. And if you're going to do something like that in 100 days, you need that coaching style and technique. It worked for me. And I know it certainly worked for a good 5 others as part of that cohort. It did. And I know a number of them are publishing their books last month and in the last few months and going forward. Yes,
Yeah. And we met at a launch of one of the books, actually, at the House of Commons. Well, you can't
we
really launch
did.
a book at the House of Commons, but it was a special occasion about the subject matter of the book.
Yes,
And
yes,
we met in person for the first time,
we
having
did.
spent quite a lot of time online. And you said to me something along the lines of, Matt, you're just like you are online. And I took that as a lovely compliment.
Absolutely. Because generally speaking, for example, at work, I recently met somebody in the office that I'd been speaking to on Teams for over a year. I didn't recognize them when I got into the office.
Gosh.
They had to call me. I actually said, "Who are you?" They said, "It's me, Helen." I was like, "Oh my goodness." Whereas yourself, I guess because you throw yourself into the whole thing, you're passionate about it. It's what you do. So the person you are conveyed online is
Mm.
the same person in person.
Oh, lovely. So anyway, less about me. Let's get back to you. So you've
Okay.
got this lovely but you've got this lovely leather-bound journal. Did you say that you've been writing poems in for years? When
Over
did you
the
first
years.
write a poem, Emete?
Yes, Matt, would you believe it? February 1996.
Wow.
Absolutely. My first
God,
poem.
28 years ago, roughly, if I'm
Wow.
correct.
Yes.
And how often do you write a poem and what inspires you to write them?
Okay. Yeah. What inspires me to write them? I don't know whether writers or songwriters or artists can relate to this. But it's like there's a flow. There's something happens, I see something. For example, I spoke to a friend a couple of months ago, and she explained to me about the challenges that she was going through. And she actually said to me, Emete, I don't look like what I've been through. And believe it or not, when I put the phone down, a poem began to flow that I don't look like what I've been through. And it just flowed. I have to get a pen, I have to get a recorder, write it down at the time. And actually, the complete poem, I am actually inspired to write down at the time. So I don't need to go back.
Mm.
Yeah,
Amazing. I went through about 3 years ago. I went through quite a big challenge in my life, and
right.
I've never, ever, ever written poetry. Well, I remember at school being told to write poetry, and like most things at school, I just couldn't do it. Um, but 3 years ago, I just went through this enormous change and transition, and it was a very
Right.
emotional time for me. And I
Yes.
started writing poetry.
Wow.
And I just get these moments where I was just kind of caught up in the moment and it would just
Yes.
come out.
Yes.
And it lasted for about 6 months. and then I've never written again since. But I must have written 30 or 40 poems
Oh, wow.
in my life. And they're very personal. I would never publish them,
Yes,
but actually, I found it enormously therapeutic to write in that way. And
I
do
can
you
relate to that.
find writing poetry therapeutic for you? Do you write it for you, or do you write them to show other people?
Right. Okay. Well, in all honesty, each one of them I was inspired to write for me.
Yeah,
For example, I don't know whether you recall a few years ago when we had for the first time, the crazy outbreaks of riots in London where there was social upheaval and people were looting shops. Um, there was just such a dissatisfaction in me regarding what I saw. And like you, I just felt a nudge and inspiration to write about the challenges of life, social upheaval, political discomfort. Um, so from that point of view, they're written for me, but the nature of the title, Inspired for Purpose,
yeah.
is born out of the fact that, yes, I was inspired to write them. Actually, in addition to that, they're written to inspire others, um, to be injected with, a sense of hope. So yes, hence the title Inspired for Purpose. I was inspired to write them for a purpose, for others to be inspired, towards hope and much more.
Wow, amazing. It's I mean, I've ordered your books. Like that's
Oh,
I say
thank
books. I've
you.
ordered your book, but I always order two copies.
Right.
One for home in London, one for home in Italy. So
Yes.
I can't wait for them to arrive, and I'm going
Awesome.
to so enjoy reading your poems.
Thank you.
It may even inspire me to pick up my poetry pen again, and maybe. Let's see what happens. I'll let you know, Emete.
Absolutely. Watch this space.
Yeah, and I just want to encourage you if you're listening today, perhaps you've written poems for yourself. Maybe you might want to think about writing them and making them available to others, or perhaps you once wrote poetry like me, but you've just let it lie, and maybe it's time to pick up a pen and just express yourself. So just want to encourage you if you're listening today. Um, Emete, I've loved chatting to you. I could chat to you all morning. You really are
Great.
a fascinating person, and doing amazing things. Um, is is this your first and last book, or do you think you're gonna, now you've done it once, do you think you've got the bug and there might be something else bubbling up?
Right. Thanks for that great question, Matt. You wouldn't believe it. Can I tell you what happened just 2 weeks ago on Saturday?
Please, please.
Absolutely. 2 weeks ago on Saturday, I woke up in the morning from 8 a.m. in the morning through to the following morning at 2:30 in the morning. I was inspired to write a complete children's book of poetry, including the title. So I have my second book almost waiting in the wings. And at the same time, there's a third book in the follow up to Inspire to Purpose. So would you believe that is happening? I am flabbergasted. A children's book with the title, which I won't say now, but you
No.
learn about in due course. So that is in the pipeline.
Wow, that is
Wow,
amazing.
isn't it?
you know,
Absolutely.
Some people think I'm cheeky when I say, or brash when I say everyone has a book in them.
Yes,
But I genuinely believe it's true. But
I
some
concur.
people actually have a small library in them. And I think you're one of those people, Emete, because once you've done the course once and learnt these techniques, and also just
Yes,
gained the confidence that you can do it, actually you realize, I mean, writing a book is not easy. I'm not saying that, but actually it's much easier than you first thought it might be once you've done it once. And it's like that with many things in life, isn't it? You
sure.
think, oh my goodness, I can never do that. But once you've done it once,
Yes,
oh, I could do it again and again
absolutely.
and again.
I agree. So the PublishU course, what an equipping, an absolute equipping, the full structure. I don't know that every writing course, I've had friends who have said, the writing course didn't work for them. But this one with PublishU, I highly recommend, and indeed value for money, because now the other books I fully have the structure, I know how to go about, and I just need to enlist. a PublishU publisher for the forthcoming editions. Appreciate that, Matt.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, thank you, Emete, and thank you
I can't
all
believe
for
it's over.
listening. Yes, it's amazing. Thank you all for listening to the Publish You podcast featuring the real life stories of authors from around the world. If you're interested in becoming an author like Emete, please do visit our website, www.publishu.com. And if you enjoyed this broadcast, make sure you subscribe for more. Thank you for joining us, and goodbye for now.
Thanks. Goodbye, Matt. Have a great day.